What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Capsule. We are straight off the plane from Jams and Gems Festival in Eindhoven. I have Talladega in the house,
Hi.
Sunglasses on,
Yes.
ready for the game. We have Genevieve Lou in the back.
Was is good.
Yes, wonderful. We also have Inesh and Hanake. Hanake? Did it? Hanukkah. All right, I'm getting the names. I'm getting used to it. In the house. And we are going to tell you all sorts of super cool things. So, Jams and Gems is the Ruggeds Festival. Started with World Breaking Classic, and now involves a music festival. What? It didn't start with World Breaking
Yeah,
Classic?
I don't know that that's true, but it doesn't matter.
Well, World
It's
Breaking
part of
Classic
the
was a
deal
thing
now.
before.
It was on its own, wasn't it?
Yeah, before Jams. So as in they combined it to make the full
Got you.
festival.
Yep, sorry.
That's all right.
Stand
You're so fine.
corrected. Sorry, as
and-
CEO of the Ruggeds Appreciation Society, one must check the details.
Yeah, this is a thing. We're actually taking applications. Tally's taking applications for to be in the Ruggeds fan club. If you would like to be a fan of the Ruggeds, you have to go through Tally. And you have to send it's a 7-page application process.
Yeah.
I'll apply and be the water boy.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Oh, there's different positions.
I think so.
The dark and stormy girl.
Ooh, that's my
That's
name.
Saturday girl. Jen, do you want to tell them about Saturday?
Yes. So when we were in Eindhoven, we had a night out,
Yep.
which was the first night that we were there. The welcome party. Well, not welcome party. Welcome
Yeah, it
little
was
gathering.
Dinner.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dinner hangout.
It was
It wasn't supposed to be a party.
Yeah.
It turned into one.
Exactly. It was a low key thing, and then it turned real quick into a high key thing. And then when I was there, I just something came to me
Came over you.
directly from the heavens. I got the information
All right, I'm with you, Tals.
that Saturday was in fact a lifestyle, a state of mind, a way of being, and an attitude.
Right.
So the whole weekend, the thing was, it's Saturday.
Right. So if you're on a Tuesday, but it's like Saturday energy.
Saturday.
And what about Wednesday evening?
Saturday.
What about if you go out on a Friday night?
Saturday.
Okay, cool. And then when Saturday comes?
Saturday.
Okay. So this is a little glimpse into our drunken Friday night.
What day is it?
Saturday. Yeah. You mean our drunken Saturday.
Okay. And then, yeah, so Saturday,
Actual
the
Saturday.
actual Saturday was the music half of the festival.
Yeah, so this is edition 4, and the first edition, well, all till this round have been day festivals, and the only kind of night culture part is like a party on one of the nights or both of the nights. And this was the first where the theme was night culture. So we had WBC prelims in the Saturday afternoon, and then Jams and Gems itself started at 6 p.m. on the Saturday and ran through till 4 a.m. on the Sunday. Was it just the prelim? Yeah, it was just the prelims on the Saturday, wasn't it? And then we ran into some live performances from music acts, and then some DJ sets. Lots of cool food and activity happening out back as well. There were 2 rooms, one considerably bigger than the first. I actually didn't go in the smaller room
For the
all
whole
night,
yeah.
actually.
Also worth saying the bar was in the bigger room, so
Yeah.
that had something to do with it.
Yeah.
That set a tone of its own. Yeah, so that was the Saturday, and we did put in a good shift.
Yeah, I think I did surprisingly well
You
considering
did, yeah.
the state.
Considering the Saturday.
yeah, which was actually
Yeah,
the
the
Friday.
Saturday.
Guys, are you keeping up? Yeah. What were your takes on the festival aspect of it, or the music side of it? Let's say.
The Ruggeds, their tastes are right up my alley.
Right.
So as much as them being my mates and me wanting to support in that way, I also know that I'm going to enjoy what they platform, and there's a real focused.
There is a real focused.
Here we go. There's a real focus on local acts, which is cool. I only knew of, I don't actually know the nationality of Cyrene, but he's the only DJ that I knew of, and then Zepp was the only artist that I was aware of. His first show ever was at the first Jams and Gems that I went to.
Oh, sick.
He's blown since, and I don't know him personally at all. I've never met him, so there's no bias here, but he's genuinely one of the best live acts that I've ever seen. Like, if you get an opportunity to see him live, like, it has to be seen to be believed. Because I think on something with such a mixed bill, it's like you're there and you're up for it and you're open because you know it's mixed, but it can be quite hard to really get an audience to like ride with you. I mean, that could be contradicted by they're there and they're open, so it's easier. So feel free to argue that point. But he had us all in the palm of his hand at like 1:30 in the morning.
Even later than that, I feel, because we left at like
maybe
2.
it was.
I feel like it must have been 2:30 or something like that, because we left when he was setting up, and we left at like 2. So I think
2 something even.
But there's never, I was talking to friends about it, just dance camps are different, but there's generally always like a flagship name. That's not the right term, but just someone to bring in the punters. And the Ruggeds stay really true with their curating of things to like who they want to see and who they want their audience and followers to see. And I was sold on all of it. It was great.
Thick.
With no bias as CEO of the Appreciation Society.
True. And then Sunday was WBC, World Breaking Classic.
Yes.
Which they had crew battles for the first time, I believe. Usually it's 2v2. And they invited a bunch of crews, and they had also an open prelims for crews. So they got it to a top 16. Yeah. And then down to the finals. What did you guys make of the break-in? How did you find that? Good?
Very good.
Raising a thumbs. Yeah?
I thought it was... I mean, I haven't been to a breaking event in a long time, to be fair to my absence. But I feel like it's been a long time I've been to a breaking battle. It's been an even longer time I've seen a crew battle.
Yeah, in any style, let alone breaking.
And I do feel like there's always a different energy with like crews of b-boys, you know, or b-girls, that they're really like not ride or die, but they're so intense.
Yeah.
So that was really nice to see, and just the level was like incredible. Also, you know, there's part of me that's like, again, because I don't necessarily watch a lot of crew battles, but like I feel like all the crews came really prepared. Yeah. Like all the crews had routines, not like one routine per battle. They had like sets on sets on sets on sets that are not necessarily like, well, some were more complex than others, but like generally speaking, it was like formation, level change, acrobatics, like kind of contact.
But
like,
I think also it's like the crews that they invited and the crews that came are like battle crews that have stuff, if you know what I mean. So it's not, well, maybe they did make up some for this. Also not a small event to win. Like, so they probably did
I thought
want
that
it.
Like it kind of speaks to the prestige of the event.
Yeah. But also I think a lot of them are like used to training as crew, because there's people that may not have routines like that, but they wouldn't have come to a crew battle where you have those level of like invites and stuff. They probably would have been like, nah.
But I appreciated that. I was like,
and some of the routines were really good.
They were.
I have to say, the Japanese and their routines, man.
Yeah, Body Carnival.
I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
Don't have to be sorry.
No,
but
don't be sorry.
It's always like the element of surprise, you know, of like, not the element of surprise, but like you think it's going a direction, and they're so small and agile. Like there's just like you're watching one thing and then you're like, how did that person jump from there?
It's true. No, Body Carnival are like really sick. They ended up winning the whole thing.
Yeah.
Super, super dope.
Yeah. I did also really like I did like the crew from the USA.
I'm not sure their full name. Okay. just saying so many letters.
The US
I was like UB40, but they were dope. I like the Venezuelan crew.
They've got some good people in there.
Like they were incredible. I thought they were stylistically, they were one of my favorite crews.
But
Hadn't seen or heard of the African crew before.
What were they called? Afro
was
Break?
very
Afro Break,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
they were really dope as well.
Yeah.
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 I think they said like afterwards they were like, oh, shout out to Sky Chief for the opportunity. So I think he maybe invited them.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of drama with the with Body Carnival versus Venezuela.
There was indeed.
A foot was eaten.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a face kick, but
No, but I think something landed in his face.
no, it was like Venezuelan team finished their turn. Body Carnival went to do their thing, but then the guy, basically what breakers do a lot is like if somebody's doing something, they kind of do it on their side to be like, yeah, I can do that too. Like it's not a big deal. It's kind of like, but you have to be a bit careful with that. And he did it a bit too out in the stage when it wasn't their turn. So Isin like kind of collided with him, and I think he ended up getting hurt, the guy whose fault it was in a way. But then Isin kind of stood up and gave him a kick. Out of anger, and then it turned into a whole squabble
A little
on stage.
kerfuffle that got squashed really
Very
swiftly,
quickly,
I
yeah.
thought.
But I think that's what's nice. Like even if it does get heated, and which in a way is like when you're doing something physical, it's natural for these
And
things.
crew battles more likely, surely.
Yeah, it just heightens everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like the guy within like a minute was like, I'm going over to say sorry, because they were like holding him back, and he was like, no, I'm saying sorry,
That
sorry.
can make it a lot more dramatic sometimes when it's like,
The other people are making it worse.
yeah.
It's like I wasn't going to do anything, but now you're making me look like I was going to do something.
Yeah.
No, so that ended up. It was actually quite a nice like example, if you know what I mean, because I think when there's no confrontation, you don't see people deal with the confrontation, so it always feels like it's about to kick off or whatever. And then when it does, it's like you see, okay, it's not actually that deep, and people will apologize and hug.
Just
and,
some dancing.
Yeah. But otherwise, I think all the battles were pretty good. Definitely the top 8 was dope, but even the top 16 was really sick. I thought the prelims were good. Like there was a lot of good crews that were there. Yeah, so that was that. I think the venue was really cool as well. They had like a big warehouse vibe.
Yeah, so it was like a, I mean, there are other warehouse venues, I'm sure, but my comparison was drum sheds. Smaller drum sheds, but still just like 2 warehouse spaces like adjoined, and then big kind of backyard bit to use. And they had a platform for the battleground, and then like industrial metal kind of seating up top, and it was busy. But as we were saying earlier, you could go get a drink and come back and sit back in your seat, or like you could just walk in, look, and you'd find spots. Whereas in big battles, often that's not the case, is it? You get your seat, and God forbid you need the toilet or something.
Yeah, you're losing your spot.
I think it was really cool while the finals were happening on the Sunday to see that somehow at some point they'd transformed the scene space, if I'm pronouncing it right, the smaller space.
Oh yeah.
Into the space for the after party. I just think that logistically, it's like when you take class and you can't help but view it as a teacher.
Yeah, sure.
I couldn't help but take note just as micro event organizer.
Yeah.
Just how it was all moving, and I just thought it was all really clever how they shifted it about. I think because we had the on the block battle as well.
Oh yeah, true.
It even became like a skate park.
Yeah, so I was going to say, and had like floor down for the cypher to happen for on the block jam, which I guess we'll speak more about in a sec. And there was skate jam happening around it, so just sat with my Bloody Mary behind Sheldon while he was DJing.
DJ'd the on the block battle, killed it.
And you've just got like skaters just dropping tricks like in the back. Like it was just such a sick setup. Fantastic food to be had, but I'll save the non jams and gems bits for after the battle part.
Yeah, the on the block thing was cool. There was like a cypher prelim, and they chose like there was 3 teams that were invited with 3 people each, and they chose 2 extra members to join, and then they kind of did a little mini round robin thing on the main stage after, which I think is nice. And everyone that got picked to go through got like €250, which I think is also a nice touch and just bring something different. Sheldon killed the DJing
He
for that.
did
It was
kill
really,
the DJing.
really
It
nice.
was great.
Represent.
Yes, represent. And
Also,
then-
extra shout to, I think Shinshan is a fantastic DJ in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
But I think really cool for breaking battles.
Yeah, and Kung Fu as well. Like I said to him afterwards, like I became friends with him before I realized he was a good DJ. Like I knew he DJ'd, but I'd never really like paid attention to him DJing.
Right.
And then we became really good friends. And then now, because he's my friend, I'm like, oh, he's spinning, and I'm like, oh, he's actually killing it. So it's nice to
Yeah, I
kind of
loved the music all weekend, like
Yeah.
for the battles as well. It's really cool.
yeah, man.
Very nice.
There was also a little crash fest.
Yes, Crash Fest
yeah.
interruption.
Taster,
That was
yeah.
nice. Shout out them. So the idea of Crash Fest is kind of like, I mean, we spoke about it on the pod with Roy and Lorenzo, so go and watch that. But it's kind of this idea of like, you can keep trying stuff. That's kind of like the I guess the not the essence, what's the word? Like the kind of message or the theme behind it is like, it's not about nailing the trick every time. It's just about try your hardest shit.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like crazy hype, crazy raw. So after the semi-finals, Torfik just ran on stage with the mic and was like, yo, we got 10 minutes of Crash Fest, 500 euros, let's go. Like anyone that wants to do it, jump on stage now. And it just was chaos.
It was like a mosh pit.
There was
Nice.
like videographers fighting about whose spot
Really?
it was. Just like
Just
no,
the
move out of the way.
mania.
Like, yeah. And it's like the
Sick.
stage became like just packed, and it was just people in the, like I was not far away on the stage. I couldn't really see. But it's just people like just doing crazy tricks. And then there was two guys that were like the best ones, so they kind of went at it for another 5. But that added I like the idea of like, they obviously knew it was going to happen, but like just Torfik jumping on stage going, yo, let's go 10
Yeah,
minutes
kind
now.
of. It felt
Like,
random.
yeah.
It felt like they just decided to do it, because I thought that they were doing it to like dispel or like get the energy back after
Right.
the semis and the face kick and stuff.
yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, it was really cool. And what else was I going to say?
That there was a new member of the Ruggeds added.
There was a new, all right, yeah, there was a new member of the Ruggeds added, Lorenzo's little brother, Federico.
Yeah.
He was dope, actually. He's also in Stardust Alliance, which is a very cool name.
Sounds like a aircraft like airline.
Yeah?
Stardust.
Sounds like a Star Trek sequel.
Yeah.
But didn't battle.
He did.
Oh, he
He
did.
battled
so
with
he was-
Stardust. Yeah,
Is he taller than Lorenzo?
tiny bit, yeah.
Okay, so it
Like-
was his brother then.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
fine. Because I thought they
He was
were
dope.
related, and then spoke to someone and was like, oh, maybe they weren't.
Yeah.
They are. Great.
So yeah, he got inducted into the Ruggeds, which is super sweet. Because they were even saying good things about him when they were here on the pod.
Right.
So yeah.
The foreshadowing happened here.
Well, I think they knew for a while,
Yeah.
the Ruggeds guys, but they just wanted to find a moment to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was sweet. It was cute. Also because it was a crew edition.
Yeah.
It was like
And their anniversary as well.
yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
think they Lorenzo joined Gems and
Recently?
Gems in the past.
Ah,
If I
sick.
remember rightly, yeah.
That's a nice way to do it.
Cute.
Momentous occasion.
And what else happened? I'm trying to think. There was a few other things. that
We
was-
had Perdu dans le sauce close
Yes.
it out, the after party. And
How was that?
Shinshan and Lee are in that collective. I'd mostly say that because just talking about Tafik and Crash Fest, and we've spoken about it, it's just how cool it is that they all have their side quests that are not side quests because they're massive and very
Yes.
legit other missions that
Yeah.
they're on. It was great. It was a really nice, again, musically into it, and with nowhere else to be in some energy, you just want to be there with them till the end of it, is my thought.
Yeah.
And I'd had a couple of Bloody Mary. I think that's all I had. Wait, am I telling lies?
Probably.
Just riding on the vibes.
Yeah.
Just vibes. It was really nice. All ended at 11, and then we all just got some food and went to
bed.
sleep, didn't we?
There was
Yeah.
nice merch.
Yeah, nice merch,
Fantastic
which I'm
merch.
wearing because now I'm an official member of the Ruggeds. Wink, wink. No, I'm
just
not.
begging it forever,
Fine, I
aren't
know.
you? Just like, I'll get
I'm-
there eventually.
I'm the best popper in the Ruggeds. Also, the winners of the crew battle
Oh yeah.
had to pick 2 people to compete at Beyond Doubt, because apparently Beyond Doubt is back this November. If you don't know, Beyond Doubt is the battle with €100,000 prize money. I had a very strong feeling they would not come back with the same prize the next year, and your boy was wrong. It's the first time that's ever happened, actually. For people that have just started listening to the podcast, that's probably the first thing I've said on this podcast that turned out to not be true.
You should see the
He's gonna
size
take
of
a
my
sip of
eyes
my
right
cock.
now.
No, but so actually, I don't think I even said that on the pod. But yeah, like I was like, are they really going to do 100K every year? At least doing it 2 years running. So yeah, this November in Paris, Beyond Doubt 2v2 All Stars Battle. Nelson and Majid won last year. It was really cool. We were there. Snipes and Jordan are sponsoring it this year. Last time it was Snipes and Nike. Technically two separate companies. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do with this year's Beyond Doubt. I'll be interested to see after having seen it 1 year if more people go back, like to enter. I mean, or like if we get different groups or pairs. But
So-
yeah, so it was two of the people from Body Carnival.
I think it was Am I Crazy, Ayumi, and
Yeah.
somebody whose name starts with N.
I don't know the other guy's name.
I was outside.
But yeah, they're going to be a really dope pair because all of them are crazy. And it's nice to have breakers in that All Stars mix. I think Mr. Chris and his brother got robbed last year. But who am I to say? No.
Oh,
They lost in like the top 8 or something, but
they were great.
who am I to say? They got robbed.
Okay.
But no, I don't like when people say they got robbed. It's just, if I was judging, I wouldn't have voted against them.
Fair.
But who am I to say?
That would be the name
Yeah.
of the pod if we were still giving them names.
Oh, those
Who
are the
am I
days.
to say?
Who am I to say?
Was there any standout crew for you?
There was standout crew, I would say. I mean, Body Carnival were really good.
They were really good.
They were really
Routines
good.
especially, but
Yeah.
they were great.
I think for our one to watch segment, which is a new segment that we do here, guys. By the
Happening
way,
now.
which I can jump in on. My one to watch, and this is not for breakers because breakers will already know who this person is, and maybe half of the rest of the world will already know who he is. But if you don't know, my one to watch is Griimsen, formerly known as Supreme, formerly known as Rico.
Not formally known. That's his government. That's his actual name.
Well, he was known by that before he invented
So
Supreme.
sorry. I stand down.
Technically,
It's like
when he was a
formerly known
baby,
as Chanel, and it's like, well, no, wait.
you were technically formerly known as Chanel.
Yeah, that is okay.
Aha, got out of it on a technicality. Who am I to say? So, Rico Supreme, Griimsen. For me, he's my one to watch because I think he is not just a good breaker by breakers standards, if that makes sense. Like for top stylers as well. I said this to someone else, but like I think for people that do hip hop, pop in, whatever, like you'll recognize a lot of what we appreciate about dance in Griimsen. Like I think he's technically, from my knowledge, technically a really strong breaker as a breaker. And I haven't really heard anyone say like, oh, that's not breaking, or any of this kind of, whenever you bend the rules of a style a little bit, you always get those people that are like, no, that's not breaking, that's not popping, whatever. But I think he's a strong breaker, but also the way he dances, like stylistically and musically, is like almost reminiscent of like how a hip hop dancer would take the music. Like he's very good at, I think one thing with breakers is a lot of times they definitely are, well, a lot of them are on beat and like use the rhythms. Some of them hit accents, but a lot of time it's like this mix between, okay, let's go on the rhythm, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, da. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, ba. And then if there's like a tat 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 that they know, they might just hit the end of it or something, to show that they've got the accents. But I think one thing that, let's say like hip hop dancers do is they'll play with the accents on a more consistent basis. So you've got your bounce and then you've got like bits that come in and they'll keep playing with those accents as they go through. It won't just be the end of a phrase, if you know what I mean. It'll be more built into even to the bounce, it will be built in. And I think Griimsen does that a lot. Like he really like pays attention to all the accents in the music throughout his round, not just on those freeze moments or whatever, even with his top rock or little moments. I think the other thing he does is his dance. I say the other thing, there's a few more things. His dance is like, when I say his dance, I mean as opposed to like his breaking move, like his stylistic dance is built in all the way through from his tops to his freezes, like through his footwork, through his power into his freezes. It's like it looks like him doing that move every time. And you could say that about a lot of the ruggeds, but I think some breakers, it's like they'll have style in, let's say, the top rock. They'll also have style like so they'll do footwork, it'll be super clean, and then they'll stop to do a little something, and that's their stylistic moment. And then they go back into like executing, which is cool, but then those are the moments when you don't see their style shine. And I think Griimsen, like his style like continues all the way throughout, whether he's doing a flipping 6-step or he's doing top rock or you know, any basic or difficult element of the dance, he like, it looks like him doing it.
Yes.
And I think for a lot of dancers, it's not easy to even find your own style, and especially in breaking, like to keep it through all the difficult moments and all the complexities. I think he does a really good job of that. And one thing that I think is really important to me, and I think because we haven't quite figured out how to say this in a structured teacher sense, we don't say it, but it's like he makes the dancer look cool. And I do think that that's an important part of freestyle. It's like, it shouldn't look awkward on your body. Like it's like how you can be fashionable and you can be wearing like Prada and this and that, but it looks horrible on your body versus people that know how to dress. And it's like, that might be like Primark top with like Prada trousers or whatever, but they know how their body shape is. They know what hangs where, you know what I mean? And I think dance is like that, where it's like, it's not only about doing the good moves or the right moves. It's like, are they the right moves for your body type, for the way you approach the music, the way you dress even? Like, there's certain things that will look better on someone that wears baggier clothes versus tighter clothes. Like, some of Lorenzo's footwork looks crazy because he wears big baggy, you know what I mean? Whereas someone that wears skinny jeans wouldn't look the same. And I think that is something that we need to take into account as dancers. And I think that's what Griimsen does really well. Like, everything suits him and it looks like he's just naturally playing, if you know what I mean? As opposed to being like
weaved through his entire dance.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, I think like I watch a lot of breaking and a lot of breaking battles, but like, I wouldn't say there's a lot of breakers that I'm like a fan of in the same way that I am like hip hop dancers or poppers, like where I'll go watch just like a battle just to see empty pops rounds and like skip through everyone else's and be like, right, next round. And it's like Griimsen's one of that. Like, I've sat and watched like compilations of his things, and it's like, there's not many people that I would like, dancers that I would do that of.
Nice. That's such a compliment.
Yeah.
Here's a love letter to you, Griimsen.
Yeah, that's so nice.
I told him this when I was drunk.
What a lovely guy.
He's a very lovely guy.
Great guy.
He put up with Jenny's drunkenness.
We spoke for more than 2 counts this time, so that was nice.
Yeah.
It's normally quite limited. I taught, related sidebar, like I taught an III session at DFAM, at Definitives, a couple of weeks ago, and was doing an exercise with them, and the playlist was especially all over the shop, and some of them would like drop into, in kind of, not mocking the music, but in kind of comedic / no offense, don't really know what to do with this energy, but the luxury of having styles to pull from would kind of break out of exploring and doing their own thing into like a bit of popping or like locking stuff. And my observation was that they dropped out of the dance when they did that, because they'd just be not floating but like playing around with space and what they were doing with their bodies, and then there'd be a drop that was especially funky and they'd be like, oh, I don't know what to do here, and dropping, and it felt really sterile in comparison to what they'd been doing before. And that was my feedback to them, like, please, like, don't obviously not use your styles because you have them, but you have, the consistency needs to be like the presence of you throughout it all. And I think that's what all of the ruggeds, and Bez saying that I engaged with breaking before I started dancing really in the early noughties.
This was another drunken joke that I missed. I turned around and it had been created, and I never got an explanation for it.
Genuinely in the early noughties. The naughty noughties. But my base knowledge of breaking, or the crew that I'm most aware of, it is the Ruggeds. I'm sure there are many just as good, maybe even better than the Ruggeds, but they are world champions now, no?
Yep.
but they all weave themselves as individuals through their dance, like you say, and through all components of their dance. And arguably, and I can't imagine it's by design, but they all seem to pull from different styles for their dance. Like, you know, Sky Chief with his house bag, won't go on with the lists, but him as an example. And yeah, I thought that Griimsen last year with Rick, who Lorenzo was talking about,
they did Beyond Doubt.
As a duo, they were fantastic. So yeah, great one to watch. Great choice, Lucas.
Definitely worth going to check them out.
Go watch Griimsen's compilation.
Yeah.
I'll go watch it right now.
Thank you for your hospitality, sweet crew.
And also, can we give a
can I
anniversary?
say something?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Also, just about WBC, is that, again, this is said from a perspective of not having gone to a lot of major breaking events either. But I really did feel like it was really welcoming and warm to people who aren't breakers. Like, I think, you know, that's the thing with dance events, that like we can be really focused on the participants, and even more so breaking, and even more so crew battles, that it can be a little bit like bro vibes, which is not a bad thing, but it also is not necessarily inviting if you're not a bro gang.
Like World Breaking Classic and Jams and Gems is like something I would recommend to like anyone. You don't have to be a breaker to go and enjoy that event.
And I feel like there was quite a lot of people there that were a general audience. There were families. There was like, I don't know, and just the general vibe of it was really inviting, I found. And
agreed.
With the like kind of also the music, the DJ sets, it kind of made it like you don't have to be like a diehard breaker to be able to enjoy this event. And even what we were saying about the seating, the fact that there was like good sight lines all around, places to sit, place to go bathroom, place to get food, it just makes that the experience can be enjoyable.
Yeah, we felt like Jenny said, it was like we were at a resort.
Yeah.
Just didn't really need to go anywhere but.
And even the immediate area around the venue, there were some really cool places and stuff.
But yeah, sorry, carry on with your
with the flowers.
Shouts to hospitality.
So kind and gracious to have us. Just so welcoming, and again, from a event organizer perspective, and Jen as producer, and also yourself with the events and maintaining this, like, we know how hard it is. And whilst they were all running around, it's not like they just promote it, are the face of it, and have nothing to do with the running of the festival. They are literally running around.
No, like after
all
the
weekend.
After the finals of WBC, it's like they close off the area, and
you don't get to say goodbye to the
I poke my head back round, and it's like Neek and Roy are literally taking down the stage, like by them, like not by themselves, but like they're doing it by hand. So
like
they were really involved
about it. And not despite that, but hand in hand with that, they will pass you, like you're met with warm, lovely, friendly energy. And when they do get downtime, they're with their people, they're with us, like they're in and amongst it. And just fantastic vibes all round. And then a slight sidebar.
Oop.
While we were there, which sounds like I'm about to be shady. Well, two sidebars. One, it's the hottest day of the year. Today. So as we start to melt and become puddles and get shinier, just be kind, okay? And then two,
I'm dying, guys.
We've spoken about it this weekend a little bit, just again as event organizers. It's really important to get to other people's events.
Yeah.
Just to see, just like you'd go as a choreographer to see shows, to be inspired, or just like take a culture day in London to just receive and absorb. Similarly, if you're producing and arranging things and curating things, just to be amongst that energy. Arguably, similarly, when Luke talks about battling outside of the country, if you can, outside of the country, because we don't have access, like the support system and funding system different, as we've spoken about before, how accessible spaces like that might be for them may be different, but just to be in a space curated and organized that way, and just to see what is possible, not to replicate in any way, but just to be amongst that and seeing it happen, I think is really inspiring. And there are right and wrong ways to organise events, I think.
There are.
And to be in the midst of one done really well would hopefully inspire us all that do it to be better.
Absolute bars. Also, yeah, definitely shout out to the Ruggies and thank you for having us. And it was like really nice to be there with you guys and just to experience what they're building as well is really nice. But also a huge congrats on 20 years. I said it to Roy and Lorenzo when they were here. But yeah, 20 years is crazy. To have done the stuff that they have as a breaking career is crazy. But not only that, but like all the side stuff, like Tally was saying, is like there's so many things that have sprouted out from that group. And speaking to all of them individually, they all credit the group support with how well they're able to push their side stuff. So yeah, all of that, whether it's like Jesse's Music or Crash Fest or whatever else, like all of that is kind of built on the Ruggeds foundation, which is, yeah, it's just really cool and really inspiring. And like, it makes me inspired of like how to run a company, how to be, you know, work with your friends. Like, yeah, I think it was just really cool.
And I feel like another thing is that I don't know them like that. Like, I don't know them as well as you guys, but I feel like they all with their individual project like deliver to a really high standard individually but also collectively, and they also look like they're just having a great time while they do it, and like they don't take themselves too seriously, but you know the delivery is still on
Top
10.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, I don't know, for me there's something really inspiring about that, because we can get bogged down or like self-conscious or like, you know, nervous about putting our things on, and I feel like seeing them do it, I feel like for sure, okay, internally there's probably stresses, but I just feel like, oh yeah, at the end of the day it is to have fun, you know, and to enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's a celebration of all that they've cultivated. And
yeah, but it really does come through in the way they are, and even in the like spirit of the event. Like even the way they brought on Crash Fest is like, yeah, let's just have fun and do this crazy thing. And like, yeah, I think they have a great energy, and yeah, it's really rare, I think.
And one thing we were saying, or you were saying at the back, is like they're very like, I'm sure internally there's things or arguments or frustrations. Sure. There has to be. It's like a lot of guys like, I mean, not only that, they said that to us in like interviews, there's like always like tension if you're building something or working on stuff, but they're very professional. Like they're
diplomatic, you know, and they protect
the group's
they protect
image.
each other. And yeah, it was their anniversary and it's their event, so you would be hard pressed to find people like slandering them, but no. I've never heard. Maybe people would be scared to slander them to me.
Yeah. President of the fan club,
as you
but
should.
No one has a bad word to say about the crew.
Yeah,
like they don't, and it's a really special thing. And then extra read all about it. I'm not dropping any news here, just a long sentence.
Read all about it.
The format of the festival has changed every year that I've been there, and it ties in with, like, we were speaking about professional development programs and just that sense of play and experimentation and like tweaking and not being scared to change that and think it's going to affect who comes or like any of that stuff. Also really inspiring. Like they clearly do what they want with an audience in mind, but they're creating the event that
they want,
and that shows and makes it even better, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
Big up.
Agreed. Shall we move on?
Move on to the next.
What a segue.
On to the next.
Shall we move on?
Move on to the
next.
Speaking of crews, have you guys heard of the Dallas Cowboys?
So we were talking about what shows we're watching at the moment. Surprise, new season of The Bear. I didn't even know. And
Don't get James started.
Mentioned America's Sweethearts, which is the Netflix documentary about the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Second season's just out. Not a spoiler at all, but a major storyline in it. Also, as Jen asked, to clarify, it's not a ratchet kind of drama-filled reality show. It's a documentary following from audition process through the season. And this season, major storyline was their contracts, because they've grown in popularity since the first season. Lots of viral moments. Go.
As in, like, the Netflix show made them grow for...
Yes. Just visibility. You know,
Yeah.
I don't follow... I was like,
football.
what sport are Dallas Cowboys even playing? American football.
Yeah.
I only know that because they're talking about yard lines for positioning. And they, like, viral moments, because there's a dance called Thunder Burst. Can't remember the song, but there's a dance they do every game.
Right.
Which, by the way, it's like high kicks, and then they drop into a split. Just every game, but at the end of, I think it's the end as well. I'm like, you're doing that how many times? Like, it must be in bits. Anyway, grown in popularity, loads more PAs and what have you, and they had issues with their contracts because they all have full-time jobs. Some are studying, but lots of them have full-time jobs as well as, and not because they're particularly passionate about their other jobs, just to make ends meet. And there are veterans in the team, and they just kind of had enough, really. I think they said they were paid $500 a show.
Okay.
And I don't know what that means with rehearsals and stuff surrounding, but the choreographer and director of the team were really pushing them having full-time jobs kind of adds appeal because they've got other things going on and they're really smart and like the optics of that. And they're like, yeah, that's nice, but I'm working 9 till 5 and 5 days a week, coming here 6 till 10. And then we have game days. I'm tired. Like, I would love to be I'm not asking to be a millionaire. I just want a living wage. And then I guess there is a spoiler at the end in that there were, spoiler alert, the most subdued spoiler alert you've ever seen.
Spoiler alert.
They got a raise, 400% raise. which is
Jeez,
amazing.
400%.
Yeah.
So it went from like 500 a show to
Either, that to $2,000 a show, or maybe they were paid, if they were only paid for show days, maybe, then they were...
It says here that the Dallas Cowboys play 17 games total over 18 weeks in the regular season. And then if, let's say, if they get to
playoffs and stuff.
Yeah, to the finals of the Super Bowl, then it would be 24, let's say, including like 3 preseason games, 17 regular, and then 4 playoff games.
But there were some scenes where, you know, we haven't told them yet, but they're going to do that Christmas show about da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And I was like, how are you agreeing to gigs and not telling the team? Like, the team, I think, is 32 strong, so I assume you can't need them all if you're agreeing gigs without telling them. Like, what is this? So they either upped the show fee or maybe just put them on kind of salary-ish.
Because it's like, also, how many times a week are you rehearsing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it must be gone.
They do these things called tags where they learn like maybe 10, just that, I'm literally just saying a number, I'm not sure how many it was, different combos, and there are group leaders, and you need to know by the second move that group leader does what tag it is and just jump in. Like mid-game, you know, when they stand on the outskirts of the pitch and just like do their things.
Right.
So someone would just like start one, and by the second move, you need to know which eight count thing they've just started.
That's kind of like battle routines.
Yeah, true.
In a way. Like, ideally, you would communicate what routine you're going to do in this round, but... Yeah, it's like usually it's like there's a little kind of tag or like signal move that's like, all right, we're about to start this routine.
Do you have that many to go?
Depends who you are and what, because like some of these b-boy crews.
That's true.
You know what? Is
if you're Body Carnival.
You know what's an interesting...
sorry, I said that like that was a really radical thing there. Talk me down off that pedestal I jumped on.
It was good.
With them.
But you know what's an interesting thing that I found out about breaking crews for you guys that just watched? A breaking
don't
battle.
know shit.
Sometimes some very well rehearsed crews will have top 16, top 8, top 4 finals battles rehearsed. So they'll know in the top 4 before the battle
Who's going.
Okay.
top 4 who's going first, which routine's going second, who's going third, which routine's going fourth. Like they'll have every round of the routine, the battle planned
I can
to the
believe
finals.
that.
Yeah. So like they did, it's like no communication rare. It's the finals, round 3. That's Luke Solo, or that's, you know what I mean.
It's a way to do it.
Yeah, because I
Interesting,
feel
huh?
like that's even one thing I thought about this weekend of like, because I was watching the cruise and I was like trying to see who was like
Calling the shots.
who was calling the shots, or if they were like, okay, we're doing this routine, blah blah blah. But it was like some of them is really hard to see. Like they just
Bluetooth, just like
yeah. So I was kind of like, oh, do they, because in order to say, okay, in this round, we're going to, like, for sure they know that a routine starts when this person is on the floor and they set it off. But for me, it was like they would have to agree before, like, okay, this is a round where you go and we start this thing. But it's like you really don't see that communication happen on stage, or I didn't see it.
Yeah, like they're not going in a huddle at the back going, Tally, you're going to start the routine and it will be routine
like,
number 63. Like,
especially in like top styles, when it's like 2-on-2 and they're about to do the routine, like oftentimes they're so bait. Like you can see them talking to each other like, okay, should we do it? And then they start and they're like, okay, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
So
but this is why like breakers are so much better at this stuff than we are.
Yeah.
But it's also like I wonder if like when we used to play basketball, a lot of the thing that people would do is like, because there's custom plays in basketball, which can be like, we've made this up completely and some crazy shit based on one player. But there's also like tried and tested plays, like an isolation, whatever. Like there's a lot of other stuff that is really obvious. So instead of calling like an ISO, you would give it all names. So like in Coach Carter, the famous one is like, he gives it's all women's names. It's all like, he's like, this is my ex-wife, this was my girlfriend when I was 16. And he gives it like, all the plays have like women's names. So like you come down and you're like, oh, like Tanya. And like everybody knows that Tanya is which player, if you know what I mean. So that's another way that they could be doing some of it, is like, they know, like let's say they like, even if it's numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, the captain could be like number 6.
Yeah.
We know what that means. Jen starts, me and Tally come in, fucking take down Body Carnival and then move on.
I guess maybe one difference with the cheerleaders is like they're not communicating, like they're not speaking to each other at all.
Yeah,
like their water breaks are choreographed.
No way.
Yeah.
As in timings.
Yeah, and like leave, move along kind of, and like strut back.
I have to watch it. I really want to watch it.
It's really good.
Is it like being released now, or has it been out for a while?
Second season just came out.
So maybe we should go and like do a review of the season, the whole season.
Yeah, it's really, I think it's good. Worth saying with the increase that the veterans, some of the veterans that kickstarted the talk around it all, they left.
Right.
And as I was saying to these guys, like they won't see the benefits of fighting for that. And it just speaks to like, you don't always need to be around for the change that you're fighting to make, to like that shouldn't be the only reason that a fight is worth having, so that you get to reap the benefits. And
they were fighting knowing they were leaving, basically.
Not necessarily. Some of them like are really kind of torn about it.
Right.
And like see how the season goes. I mean, it's quite dramatic. You like hang your costume on the rail for like staying. But they have to re-audition every season regardless of veterans or not. So it's are you going to try out next season or not? And some of them left. But I think, you'd be hard-pressed with a 400% increase to not just get one more season out of it, just to make some more peas. So, a really noble thing, I thought. But, that's the rundown of that.
Fair. I don't have a segue again, but
too tired for
anyone in the house got a segue?
Speaking of cheerleaders,
go on.
I'm Tally's cheerleader.
Speaking of cheerleaders, there's people that need cheerleaders in life, and then there's also people who need advice.
Not bad.
And then that's why we have
It's shaky.
Yeah.
Listen. I thought it was quite good.
We've had a long weekend, guys. So we have a new segment, which is called Consult the Capsule. And there's a link in our Instagram bio, which leads you to a Google form. And you can leave anonymous or non-anonymous.
Anonymous.
Non-anonymous. You can leave anonymous or non-anonymous questions. And it can be a dilemma. It can be a question about your career, about life. It can be, I want to dump my girlfriend, but I don't know how to say it. Like anything that you want us to discuss, whether it be funny, whether it be serious, whether it be dance related, industry related, battle related, whatever. And the other thing that you can do on there is indicate kind of who from the regular cast you would want this to be addressed to. If it's anyone, then it's anyone. If it's Lee, Tally, Abe, whoever, Jen, like we can wait for them to be here. But yeah, if you're a regular listener, we would love to hear from you. A, because we would love to help you, but also B, because it's fun for us to get to some input from people at home and also to tackle some new problems outside of our own. And from, the ones that we've decided
to know that we're not alone.
Yeah. So this week we had one, and the person indicated that Tally they would like it to be when Tally's on an episode. So they clicked anyone and Tally, and also it was anonymous.
Ooh, okay.
So we don't know who you are, person at home, but we hope you're listening to this episode.
I wonder if I can guess from the question.
All right, go on. So Jen's going to read out.
Okay, so here comes the question.
Here comes your advice.
Here comes Tally's advice. Okay. As I've considered pursuing dance as a profession, I've often found myself grappling with its value both in my life and in relation to the greater world problems or changes. Although I recognize that the impact of dance is often intangible and that its ability to bring people together and provide an outlet for personal expression and discovery only helps to enrich our lives, it's difficult to imagine committing to it as a career without feeling a sense of guilt or ignorance based on what else is happening in the world. How have you learned to reframe or clarify what dance and art means to you so you could openly pursue it with a clear conscience?
I am searching for, thank you. Straight away, I'm searching for a description of the different kinds of people that are needed to bring around change in the world. I think I might know who you are. But I have been asked this question directly in the DMs by somebody, and I think it might be them as a means of bringing it to a wider audience maybe. But I feel really strongly about a few things, that we can't care about all things. Like, change doesn't happen by us all caring 1%, like, or 0.01% about each world issue. Very aware some are bigger than others. But I think that if we all lend the majority of the energy that we have to give to a thing that we care about very deeply, we are more like, if we all do that, knowing full well that we all have different areas of concern, that the world is likelier to see greater change than us all feeling the pressure to spread ourselves extremely thin and talk about Palestine as much as we talk about climate change, as much as we talk about racism, as much as we talk about sexism, as much as we talk about disability needs, as much as we talk about gentrification. Like, pick your, really, maybe I'm PC to say, pick your poison. It is a turn of phrase. And outside of the subjects that you care about, artists are part of that ecosystem of change. And I remember in 2020 seeing this. I can't keep talking and answering the question whilst trying to find it, but it's something to do with like the different roles in change making or world building maybe. And part of it are the people that keep the world turning so that there is one for those that are experiencing deep difficulty, to put it mildly, to come back to. And I think that artists can contribute in that way, so that it's not about there being joy, but that there's something to, and culture to return to when, God willing, things get less dark and depressive. And I keep my conscience clear in that way. Like I was talking about, I'm remortgaging at the minute and I've changed my mortgage provider. So it's not Barclays. And like, it's so small. They're making billions outside of receiving my mortgage interest. But like, my conscience is a little clearer from that teeny tiny decision. And like what I can do in my little life is all I can do. I'm aware of how microscopic I am in the grand scheme. And that helps me not feel the weight. I'm not the center of the universe, and my choices, I don't feel that my choices alone are going to make massive change. So I focus on the little things that I can do. I think that in being a service provider in the community, my conscience is clear in that I'm holding up a lot of, not, you know, single-handedly in each of their lives, but I'm contributing a lot of energy to creating individuals that are empowered and feel strong in their artistic lives and lives in general, so that they can go and do their little bit also. So me as artist and maker, maybe not so helpful in answering your question, but just zooming out of that a tiny bit, I think that's my answer.
I would very strongly agree with what you just said.
Great. Yeah.
I think like my 2 pence of this subject is like 100% agree with what you said about like we can't all, like you're not going to make, like you said, putting 0.01% into every single thing is going to make no dents anywhere. Whereas you can make a real dent in like one thing if that's you have to pick one, but like, you know what I mean? If you do less, contribute more energy. But also I think one thing that we miss a lot, and I think this is, I want to say maybe the social media effect, like because a lot of stuff is centered around social media, we kind of get this pressure of like, not what am I doing, but what am I being seen to do? And I think that is what causes a lot of people stress, because actually I think, and I don't know this person and I don't know that I'm necessarily talking to them, but it's like we don't get stressed by not being able to help. It's like, am I being seen to be doing enough, right? And I think this is a lot of people, whether or not it's that person, but I think sometimes when it's like when you as a person are trying to make change in your circles and where you're able to, so it's like, you know, you don't have to be the person that fixes racism on their own, but if you're around a diverse group of people, you're learning about lots of different cultures, you're standing up for people when things are being said, you're creating inclusive environments, blah 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 blah, in the places that you work in, then it's like, all right, cool, that's a small way that you're going to start to make changes in racism. I saw this a lot with I wish I could bring it back, but my Facebook got deleted. I feel like I wrote something good.
Your Facebook got deleted?
Yeah, someone tried to hack me, and then they deleted my whole Facebook.
Hater.
But I wrote something about it in the lockdown, Black Lives Matter stuff, about basically about like social causes, and also like racism being the point of my thing, about it being like a marathon, right? And it's like a lot of people have been running this marathon for a lot of years, and it's like the way I was feeling in the lockdown and with Black Lives Matter, kind of the height of that, is that there was a lot of people that never even considered running this marathon jumping in and starting to sprint. And it's like, nobody needs that. Like, you're coming in, you're going to burn yourself out in 2 weeks, get bored, and then not care about Black Lives Matter or this thing moving forward, which is what's happened. Like, a lot of those people, there's so many examples of it online, of all these social media people that were like activists and doing all this and that, and it's like they're just gone back to their normal lives now that it's not a trend on social media anymore. And it's like, if you think of these things like a marathon, like a lifelong marathon, it's like you cannot jump in and sprint for the next 40, 50, 60, however old you are, years of your life. You have to go and go, right, what can I sustainably do to help the people around me and not burn out and not be unhappy and not be just like a wreck. Like, and I think it's also worth saying there's a spectrum. Some people dedicate their entire lives to purely activism. If you're not, from 16, a Greenpeace, like, activist, and you spend your whole life on that, you don't have to feel guilty about that. Like, do what you can and also balance it with your internal compass.
And be real about it as well. It's like... I'm not doing enough.
Sure.
I could do more. I've been on one pro-Palestine march. One. I see the dates all the time. Do I prioritize it in my calendar? No. I accept that. Like, I do the front-facing stuff when I can. Do I think about it often? Absolutely. Do I sympathize with it greatly? Like, I was going to say, of course, but clearly there are people that don't. But I think the front-facing thing and the expectation is a huge part of it. I remember in COVID there being that, like, I'm a proud black man hashtag thing. And then people were posting selfies of themselves and that, but it came with like a ready-made caption as well. And not to make it judgy, but there was a sense of like, and we can't find our own interpretation of that statement? Like, do we not have our own thing to say about that? A contribution to make to the conversation? It's just like a, yes, must do that thing that everybody's doing. And I found the roles. There are, I'm
Maybe
sure
you can
this...
put it on screen if you want to screenshot it.
I shall do. I was like, what, right now? We have the technology for it. So there are, this is for social change. There are weavers who I believe are the dreamers in the thing. I won't explain. Gonna regret doing this. Experimenters, frontline responders, visionaries, builders, caregivers, disruptors, healers, storytellers, guides. They sound more woo-woo than you might
said for
have
my
expected.
benefit.
Yeah. But if you read the descriptions, apart from frontline responders, that kind of does what it says on the tin. But if we're all screaming and shouting about it, who's doing the quiet work, changing the policies, and who, like, creating the support systems for the broken people, and who's, again, the artists who are making the things for us to do and see and enjoy when it gets better, and we all do, it all plays a role. And I don't think it works if we all do that one and then all shift to that one. Like the person that messaged me about it, this kind of silences complicity thing. She's like, everyone's just teaching their classes and getting on as normal and no one's saying anything. It's like, here. Yeah.
And also that you can see.
Are you on all of their stories? Yeah. Do you check every dancer's stories every day?
Yeah.
And have you spoken to anyone that you're talking about? Because they were asking me my opinion on it, and it's like, my opinion is that you should talk directly to these people that you're seeing and get pissed off about, because I think it's just really unfair to judge based on how people choose to use that one app. We're all there, but it's just life. It's not. And I think for those that think differently to us on this, that is really difficult to comprehend and understand. And I'm not trying to get everyone on board with thinking about it the way that I do, but not only even work-wise and creatively do we not know how people approach using Instagram, but politically and personally, no idea. But you just have no clue how people are navigating their actual real life. And the more energy, and when it's so hard to even summon energy for all of this, when it's so hard, and for every good day you're having, you're aware that many people are losing their lives or just having the worst time of it. That's hard enough. But then to direct your energy on a largely unknown, on a narrative that you're creating in your head, is like the antithesis of productivity to me. That your energy is way better spent focusing on what you can do to contribute to the shitstorm that you're describing, rather than judging your perception of what you think everyone else is doing or not doing about it.
Yeah, I have two last things to add from my perspective. One is that, in my opinion, and I think I'm right, which is should be the name of my side podcast.
But who am I to say?
You know, you've got tiny, humble opinions. I've got, in my opinion, but I think I'm right. It's like, activism is not shouting at other people for not being activists. Yeah. And I think a lot of people have gotten that confused. It's like, I feel like and this is truly what it is. You feel, and so do I, and so does Tally, and so does everyone else. You feel scared and inadequate, and like the world is a mess, and there's so many people that are hurting. Like, we all feel that feeling. But what you cannot do is...
You can do.
You can, but I'm going to criticize, is take that feeling out on other people next to you. Like, I don't know what to do and I can't figure out quite what to help. You're not helping. It's like, no. Like, use that energy to do something. And I just think I stand behind that thing of, like, activism is not shouting at other people for not being activists. That's not, and I personally wouldn't tell anyone what to care about or how to care about what they care about.
Yeah, and there's that thing of, it's hard to say about, like, a serial killer, for instance, but everyone is doing the best they can with what they've got. With the smarts they have, with the awareness they have, with the moral compass that they've got, with the conscience that they're doing the best with what they've got. And if that's not much, that best will be maybe not the best, but that's what they've got.
Also, just in life in general, when you're happy and fulfilled doing something, you become the best version of yourself, and you're more likely to have a positive impact in the world.
Oxygen mask thing.
Yeah, so it's kind of like if you like should work at like Red Cross or Greenpeace because that looks more noble than being a dancer, it's like, okay, well, you know, maybe the job opening there is being a secretary, but you're going to be fucking miserable doing that. And like, good job you work for Greenpeace, but then the people around you, you know, might not be impacted positively. And I think if you also want to make a difference, like through the arts, I think there are so many organizations, you know, it's like whatever cause you're leaning into, it's like, I have a friend who's really like, you know, kind of very kind of like not conscious,
Socially
but very
conscious.
attached to like the cause of, you know, refugees and people being displaced and all of that. So she started working in like an art center that like caters, you know, kind of cultural connections for refugee communities, and like through like theater and visual arts and all of that. And it's like, I think if you're an artist and you've been touched by art, it's because you know the impact that it can have in somebody's life. So I also think that just like the context of being a performer of an art or an artist doesn't have to be like, oh, I need to be on stage to display myself, but can also be a like you know, it can take a lot of different shapes and forms. And, you know, like there's amazing pieces of work about climate change that I've seen that have been like super touching and kind of made you think of things in a different way. So I just think if that person who wrote has like a cause that is really close to their heart,
do it through dance.
Then it can be part of your practice as a dancer. Or as you said, it could be like this part of the day you're doing something you love, and this other section of the day you're dedicated to something else. And it doesn't have to be like everything is everything.
And
because sorry.
Yeah.
Like the Mum Edit More, like the archive thing that I did, like it was centered around it. The work was at the core of it, but the launch at least is, you know, a conversation with Nabil and I. For context, it's around gentrification of Brixton, and like the work's about that. But then there's events that sprung out of that are conversations about it. And then you've got people in the room that aren't bothered about dance at all, but love hearing Nabil speak, for example, or just interested in the topic. So they're coming to engage. So Jenny makes a really strong point about work surrounding the issue. My point that came when reading the question again and Jenny was speaking was like baristas could ask the same question. Like, how can I, in good conscience, make flat whites all day when there's like a bank teller, like a bouncer at a club? Like, it's not like zoom out of
and
it.
It doesn't even stop at careers. It's like, how could I go to the gym when this is happening? How could I buy a new pair of shoes? Like, when do we stop then? It's like, how could I sleep when some people can't sleep?
Yeah,
it's
it
like,
doesn't make it an invalid question. I think it's just like...
No, but if you stop pulling that thread, it's like you can think that about anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's like, it's not how can you justify being an artist. I think that might not be the right question to ask yourself, but it's more like, what are you doing about something that you care about?
Yeah.
And then it's like...
Then that would ease your conscience on the rest.
Yeah, and it's like, then, you know, in a way, it's like analogy. It's like working out for me. It's like, I started going to the gym because I was like, I want to look a certain way. But as I started getting stronger, how I look was less important because I knew I was doing the work that I needed to do. And then how I feel about the work that I'm doing, like feeling stronger, now became the thing that I'm more attached to than the way I look. Right. So it's like changing the world is maybe the outcome that you want. But if you start doing the actual work, then that's going to, you know, the everyday task, the everyday showing up, or the regularly being committed to something becomes more important than the outcome. So I think, just focus on like something you can do, whether it's like volunteering to a homeless shelter once a week, like, you know, then it's like, does that justify you being a dancer? Like nothing justifies anything. It's more where you want to invest your energy.
Have you guys seen Pay It Forward?
Yes.
Pay It Forward. Oh,
a true classic.
You got to watch Pay It Forward.
Jamie Foxx?
No, it's Sixth Sense kid. What's his name? Haley Joel
Osment.
yeah.
And
Kevin Spacey.
yeah, I was like Kevin
Not
Costner,
Jamie Foxx.
not the one.
No, definitely almost the opposite of Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Great movie, but basically it's like at the beginning of the movie is this kid, he's like 5th grade teacher or whatever, says you're going to it's like a fun project to start the year. They're like, well, you have to do one thing that's going to change the world, like kind of not expecting him to do anything. And he comes up with this pay it forward idea where he's like, I'm going to do something nice for 3 people, and I'm going to tell those 3 people that in exchange, they have to do something nice for 3 people. And like,
No.
and then the way the movie tells that story is like, I cried at the end, like
We should rewatch
multiple times. Like, but I don't like crying in front of people. And that's another thing that's for conversation with my therapist. Why am I
Who am I
uncomfortable
to say?
crying in front of people?
Patriarchy.
Patriarchy!
That's a cause for you.
Yeah,
In other news,
far from the norm.
did anybody go to the right location?
Jen, tell the story of why. So, guys, the idea, like, let me just say this for you guys at home. We are hot. So for you guys at home, we were going to review Far From the Norms Until We Sleep, because we're big fans of Far From the Norm over here. Love the new merch drop. I'm going to receive my t-shirt and I'm going to wear it on the pod. So I was away on a residency in Bristol. So Jen was like, no worries. Me and Abe are going to go see it. We will watch the show. We will come in and we will report back. Now, we are not going to do that today.
We will
Because
do that.
why?
Because Tally went.
Because Tally saved the day. But why is Jen not going to come in and review?
Because in my defense, I put Westfield Stratford like 4 times in my GPS that day to kind of see how the times were changing to drive there. And I almost never drive in central London. And then when I was looking where to park my car, I put car park B Westfield, and then it completed it with the address in Shepherd's Bush. So then at 7:12 p.m., the GPS said,
3
you are
minutes.
3 minutes away.
And what time was the show?
7:30.
Okay.
As most shows are. Don't be silly, Luke.
And then,
for context.
yeah.
Joking.
And then Abe said, this doesn't look like Stratford. And then I saw a sign that said Shepherd's Bush. And I said, oh no. Do you think we can make it there in 10 minutes?
Oh, I was hoping this was going to make it.
Sometimes you don't know which way to go, and you end up on the other side of London. But wait, we can make a day of this together. We just gotta have faith in each other. Gotta have faith in one another. We can make something out of nothing. You gotta grab that fucking cloud and search for the silver lining. And then one day, it'll all be okay. So annoyed. The other side of the rainbow. Yeah! Believe I'm a Christmas city.
If I were you,
Yeah.
I'd have wanted to knock him out.
I
But
was
just being.
Oh, that, by the way, for context, that song came about a minute after they realized they weren't in the right place.
Yeah,
So
I
Abe was like not waiting for it to.
I was just driving with an angry face, and this was happening
He's
right
sending me
next to
videos
me.
of him singing West End songs about it. That's not the only video. There's like 4 or 5.
Oh,
Yeah.
I need the rest.
Yeah.
please.
Yeah,
Send you.
there are multiple of them. I was
Abraham Lincoln.
I was really annoyed. But let's not make that the main part of the
So
story.
Tally, how was the show?
So I did not see the show.
Go.
Do you want that?
Yeah, I'll do this
And
while
then
you do
pass
that.
it back. Danica, when you're done.
I feel like a celebrity.
I could be CEO of the Norm Appreciation Society as well. I think.
Can't have 2 jobs.
I will not butcher I'm failing already then. I've got so many. I will not butcher the synopsis or indeed my interpretation of it.
Sure.
But I really loved... I thought Victoria was stunning in it. And Jordan... what is his surname again? Douglas.
Did Victoria have a certain role that made her stand out?
Yes, she didn't. She had a couple of solo moments, but she wasn't the only one too. But it did centre around her as protagonist of the work. I think leadership was a theme, if I remember the synopsis correctly. But Jordan is really one of my favourite.
He's great.
Dancers. He's so good. Like all got. It's like to be a norm, you have to have bulletproof knees. It's just like
That's great.
Or no knees.
Or no knees.
Yeah.
Like
Or
just
5
insane.
knees.
And like, you know, the ability to dance like you're on hot lava. Is that the cocktail? Who knows? Anyway, fantastic dancing from all. I thought that the use of the space, and this isn't to underplay like the themes of the work at all, but the way that the work used the room, not the room, they weren't with us in the auditorium, but the stage I thought was really beautiful. Specifically, one moment kind of through lights that was really stunning, and then behind what you would have perceived the set to have been.
Oh, sick.
That was like one of my favourite parts of it.
Almost like through the screen kind of vibes, like you're... No.
Just the frame set by the lights, you would have thought, okay, that's the back.
Got you.
And then there was just a part that happened behind that was quite short, but I just thought was really, really clever. I don't know, I'm going to have to ask someone about this, but I really thought of the way that the lights were, which is kind of like arching beams, like individual beams that could either be fully lit, or at one point it looked like a starry night. They could like light part of the individual beams as well. But I started to think of like the belly of a whale for some reason, like rib
rib cage, yeah
stuff, and then I'm like, I won't go into the themes. Belly of a whale.
Yeah. Biblical.
And the themes of leadership and feeling swallowed by the pressure.
Ooh,
around
let's
it.
go.
And I don't normally digest work in that way. I am a little more binary about
biblical story when he gets...
Jonah?
Is there anything to do with leadership? Could it have been?
I wonder.
If it was put together.
That was like Pinocchio.
Also that. Free Willy?
Not in the Bible.
But based on that story, I think, or that part of it was based on...
I'd seen Black Dog and loved it, as most did, and I guess a preference of mine, or a highlight, should I say, of Black Dog was some of the more intricate, kind of denser choreo moments. This didn't seem to have as many of those. It used kind of flocking and like gathering up the cast to get around the stage a lot more, which would have been I think all Botus's choices are conscious and very thought through, but for my preference of what I love about Norm's movement language, I would have loved some of those moments. It had standouts, but they just weren't of that nature. It's the second show I've seen at Sadler's East. I saw Benji Reed's show there. Yeah, it's just nice. Yeah, fan of the slightly... I didn't realise how much smaller the house was than Sadler's, main Sadler's, but it can be a bit of a problem if you're there at the same time as like a match day or event day, because you're really kind of coming across all of that.
Oh yeah,
those
true. It's
tens
right
of
next
thousands
to
of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I was saying very, very briefly about Black Dog and the success of that show and how highly held it was. Just kind of making space for the potential difficulty in following that up.
Yeah.
And staying true to what it is you want to say and how you want to express yourself, as opposed to any kind of pressure to match that.
Yeah. I feel like he's got a good team around him to like
Yeah.
help him with manage those type of pressures.
But even once I think they still work with kind of project grants and stuff. But even just that, when money's coming from other places and, you know, production support, what have you, I'm not sure how they do all of that. But just as the voices increase around the work, it must take a lot of work to
quiet them,
keep it at bay and make the work that you want. And as far as I can tell from the works I was speaking about, the show that I saw of Norms in the Vaults, that I can't remember the name of it, but Gorilla as the logo and Ezra, as Jenny reminded me, the dancer that used to be in it. And their identity as a company has been there for quite some time. And regardless of people's tastes around the specific shows, I just think that that's really to be commended. Because it's easier said than done as the scale of your company grows. So fantastic work to you all.
We love...
Shouts to Lee Griffith.
Shout out to Lee.
I was so bummed. I haven't seen her in so long, and I was gonna see her Thursday, but I saw neither her, neither the show.
You saw a really big branch of Zara.
Yep. But yeah, and even like I saw Botis choreographed something on NDT as well.
Oh yeah,
Netherlands Dance Theatre.
The early noughties.
But yeah, I think it's really cool as well, and I can only imagine the pressure to like make another black dog.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what that's what people love, but that's what made Far From the Norm and him as a choreographer really blow up.
I mean, it's the same with even like rappers when they make a certain album that goes crazy. Like Chance the Rapper had
another
that.
one of those.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
and sometimes they do it and then people
Yeah.
don't love it because they're like, it's the same as the last shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's hard to,
I have heard that like Until We Sleep is different in a lot of ways than to Black Dog. So I think it's really dope that he's also like continuing to evolve as an artist and to kind of see where he goes. And I can't wait to see the show at some point. Somewhere.
Somewhere. It's not on this topic, but before we close out, shout out Joe Priest, Robia Milliner, Sheldon Williams, Tom Bowen, Jevon Howard Jones.
Who else we shouting out? All the Ruggeds.
I was like, I don't know all of their surnames, so I won't do that. But that was our
Lee
London.
Ruggeds, Roy Ruggeds.
Lee the Ruggeds.
Yeah.
Roy the Ruggeds.
They get the Ruggeds.
Dusk the Ruggeds. Griimsen
It's
the
crazy how
Ruggeds.
they're in a crew called the Ruggeds and all of their surnames are the Ruggeds.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
But that was our London
UK
was our
crew.
And yeah, it was a really beautiful time. Shout out Nicey and Lara, who were our crew last year, but they couldn't come this year. You were missed.
We poured out some dark and stormies for you.
Yeah, poured a little liquor in your honor. That makes me think.
Oh God.
No, I'm gonna say.
No, which one?
Pour a little liquor in your honor.
Put a what?
Not what I'm saying, how I'm saying it.
Oh, put a little liquor in your...
Do you know what I'm getting at?
I
Is it the
believe I do.
what? That?
No.
No?
It's weekend related.
Okay.
Guys, there's a lot of stuff that we can't say on camera. It was a wild weekend, guys. There is certain things that will be lost to the archives. There are certain things that will stay on my phone forever. There are certain things I will hold for blackmail. There are
What?
certain things
What?
that we will only remember on a
Saturday.
Thanks for tuning into the Capsule. Consult the Capsule. Please write in. Give us your questions, thoughts, feelings, opinions, dilemmas, stuff like that.
My podcast is coming.
Woo! Oh no, let's do it. You said it. You said it. No, say it. Soft launch it. Come
See
on.
you later.
Say it. Talk about it quick. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Let
What are
her
you gonna
launch
do?
it first.
She just launched it. She
It's
just did
okay.
it.
Soft launch. Podcast will come. It will be maximum 15 minutes a week. It will be me running down my week because the plate's spinning. It's fun. And it will be called Tiny Humble Opinions, as will my Substack, which will come when my DYCP comes through and I can be paid to develop my writing practice.
See you next week.
See you next week, guys. Love you. Miss you.
Hey, that's my line.